much. This is so beautiful. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're doing my November TBR. So kicking off this month's TBR, we have one book that I'm definitely going to be reading, and that's Small Favours by Erin A. Craig. I'm actually doing a buddy read with Steph from Skim with Steph and Ellie from Bibbity Bobbity Books. I will have both their channels linked below. This will be our second buddy read. We have both read House of Salt and Sorrow by this author and we enjoyed it. That was a 12 dancing princesses retelling with a very eerie atmosphere, and none of us have read this one, so we've decided to give it a go. This has been sitting on my shelves for months and I asked if they would want to buddy read with me and they said yes. I'm really intrigued. I don't know too much about this one. As much as the cover screams summer, it's actually meant to be quite a dark read, and this one we're following Ellery Downing, who lives in this really small town where nothing seems to happen until townsfolk start going missing, weird things are happening, and the creatures, they are real. So intrigued. So this is definitely one book that I want to get onto my TBR game, and even if I don't, I'll still be reading it for the month. Speaking of my TBR game, it's very simple. For those of you that don't know, I roll a 6 coloured sided dice. If the same colour comes up twice, I do a re-roll. I tend to do a minimum of 5 rolls and a maximum of 2 re-rolls. This gives me between 5 and 7 books to read for the month, which is a manageable amount. Now these colours correlate to a little figure that's sitting on top of a bunch of prompts, and those are the prompts I have to fulfill for the month. So with all that explanation out of the way, let's choose the 6th prompt. Let's go with, ooh, feeling this one. A thriller. You know what, I think that would work for the buddy read really well. I'm not sure if it's technically a thriller or if it's a horror book, but I feel like it would work for that. Anyway, let's go to roll number 1. Roll number 1. Ooh, purple. And that is the first prompt we pulled, which is thriller. It's always really weird when that happens, but we did get the first pick that we pulled, and that's thriller. And I was thinking about it, and I know I did say Small Favours could work for that one, but I do think it is more of a horror book. So instead, I'm actually going to get you guys to choose the very first one, and that's 2 different thrillers. So we have an adult thriller and a YA thriller. So the YA is The Last Girl by Goldie Moldovisky, and this is an exclusive club, a dangerous game. What would you do to survive? So we're following a main character, Rachel, who turns to horror movies for comfort, preferring them to the rich kids in her fancy new school. But then Rachel is recruited by the Mary Shelley Club and its terrifying fear tests, elaborate pranks inspired by urban legends and horror movies. What starts out as fun turns deadly, and this is one game she can't afford to lose. And this did concern me for a moment, because there is actually a book called The Mary Shelley Club that has fear tests and everything. So I've got no idea if this is a second book, but when I was looking into like the cover of this, it doesn't say anything about it. So I might do a bit more research in case you guys pick it, but it doesn't look like they're connected. I'll have to check. And then the other thriller is an adult thriller, which is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. This is one that I picked up secondhand, and I actually got my mum to read it first, and she said it was pretty decent. And this one is all about a large house in London. A baby is awake in her cot, well fed and cared for. In the kitchen lie 3 decomposing corpses. Close to them is a hastily scrawled note. They've been dead for several days. Who has been looking after the baby? And where did they go? So I do think both of these are going to be really interesting. Let me know in the comments below which one I should read for the month. They've actually both got yellow on, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I do tend to like YA murder mysteries, which is why I'm trying YA thrillers, just to see if I like them. Adult thrillers is something that I've read a couple, but I don't tend to keep hold of them once I've finished them. But as I said, my mum did say that this one was pretty good, so let me know in the comments below which one I should choose out of these. Okay, so choosing another prompt. Let's go this one. That's a nice one, under 500 pages. I'm not gonna lie, I seem to have developed big book fears, so anything that is less than 500 pages is a win for me. Roll number 2. Ooh, that's a blue. And we have translated book. So roll number 2 was a translated book, and I have to, I have quite a few because I have some manga and I do have some classic books that have been translated. However, I'm not really feeling like a classic book at the moment, mainly because the ones that I've got that are translated are like Homer's Odyssey, things like that, which I'm just not feeling up to tackling at the moment. So instead we have gone with a manga, and that is The Promised Neverland. And this is one that I'm really excited for. So this is volume 2. I read volume 1 a few months ago for a 24-hour readathon that I did, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so interesting. It's a horror manga where we're following these kids who have been orphaned. They're living at this orphanage, but they go undergo like weird tests where they have to get like a really high percentage, and then they realise that things are really quite sinister, and that's where I'm up to. I'm really intrigued to carry on with this one. So yeah, I think this one would be good, and a nice like light read. Manga is something that I do enjoy to just break up my reading for the month. It doesn't take long and you always feel so accomplished that at the end of about 40 minutes you've finished a book. Really good. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to carry on with this one. So that works for translated. And back to choosing another prompt. Let's go with this one. Ooh, okay. We have animal on the cover. I haven't had a cover pick in a little while. I do have a few of those where it's like based on the colour or something, but I feel like we haven't had a cover pick. Anyway, rambling, let's go. Roll number 3. Ooh, orange. Nice, we have Retelling. Okay, so now we have Retelling, and if you don't know, I love a retelling, and you can take this in 2 different ways. So you have like the Greek mythology retellings, which, ooh, actually, do I go for that instead? No, we're going to stick to the original choice. So you have a Greek myth retelling, or you have the retellings of like the classics that we really like, or like Disney stories or something like that, which technically are all from classic tales. But for this one I've decided to go with The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd, and this one is a retelling of Dr. Moreau's Island by H.G. Wells, and I really enjoyed that classic. I thought it was really good, and this one has been on my radar for a little while, and I actually found it in a charity shop, which I was so surprised at. We're following Juliette Moreau, and she learns that her father is still alive, so someone that has been cast down in society for carrying out gruesome experiments, and now she finds out he's alive and that he's on this island, and so she goes to the island. So I'm really intrigued. I feel like this is going to be more of a stricter retelling than others that I've read, but yeah, I love it. I love Dr. Moreau's Island. I love retellings. This sounds perfect. There does seem to be a theme with retellings of following the daughters of these people, which I can't wait for. So The Madman's Daughter for retelling. The only problem is we haven't actually fit on the book that I'm buddy reading, and I do actually have 2 other books that I would like to read this month, so we'll see if they get on. Okay, then let's go this one. Oh, I talk about covers. Bright cover, which can be taken in a lot of different ways, but let's see if we get it. Roll number 4. Orange again. Okay, so that's bright cover. Choosing another prompt. Treat your shelf. And let's do the reroll. Green. Anticipated read. Okay, I know I was literally just saying how I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit the books in that I wanted. I don't know why I said that. These prompts were perfect. So we have bright cover, and for this one I'm going with The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Gabar. I've been so excited to read this one. This is the 2nd book in her Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and it's such a good series. It's so fun and light and fluffy, and I don't normally like YA books like this, but it just works. We are following Evangeline, and in the first book Evangeline is in love with someone who then ends up being engaged to her stepsister, and she's heartbroken about this, goes to someone called a fate. So there are fates in this world, and you can make a deal with them, and they will do what you ask, but not necessarily in the way that you want it. And she does that. She goes to Jax, Prince of Hearts, to help her. But of course there's terrible side effects of all of this, and she spends the rest of the book trying to deal with all of that. It's ridiculous, it's funny, it's great. I loved it, it was so much fun, and now I cannot wait to go for this one. So as I said, bright cover can be taken in a few ways. So we have bright colours, so the bright pinks and everything, or it could be for foiling, because when it catches the light that goes bright, which I didn't really need to explain, but there we go. But can we just say, oh, I love this so much. This is so beautiful. This is underneath the dust jacket, and it's been the same for all of Stephanie Gabar's books, although these ones in particular are a lot more detailed, but they are all different, and there are 4 different designs which you can find, and I got the dragon one. Fantastic. I'm so excited. Very happy that that one got on my TBR. I've been wanting to read it for a little while, and yeah. I say a little while, I bought it as soon as it came out, and ever since then I've been wanting to read it, but just didn't really work with October reads or anything, so perfect, I'm so happy. And the next prompt was anticipated read, which does work perfectly for the buddy read, because obviously I'm anticipating reading that. I cannot wait. I'm so excited to do another buddy read, and I'm just intrigued by this book about how beautiful it is. And if you open just on the very first flap cover page, it says, "Enter not the forest deep, beyond the bells the dark fiends keep." Sounds amazing. It actually sounds so good. I'm really intrigued. I have high expectations for this one, so it's definitely one that I've been anticipating. So even though that was a reroll, the reroll worked really well, so I'm kind of not mad about it. But let's go to the last, hopefully final roll. Oh no, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. We need to choose another prompt. Go with this one. Oh, okay. Thrifted. I've been doing a lot of thrifting lately, actually in, was it September? The whole of September, pretty much every book I got was thrifted. Or was that August? One of the months recently, I only thrifted books, and it was so much fun. So anyway, thrifted. Now let's go to roll number 5. Roll number 5. Green. And that's thrifted, but we now have a reroll. We know the drill. Choosing another prompt. Anything. And the last roll. Green again? Well, at least it's not a reroll. And that's anything. So we ended with another reroll, and that was thrifted. For this one I'm going with an adult fantasy book, and that's The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is a book that's been recommended to me so many times, from people at work, to family members, to even actually some of you guys in the comments saying how I would like this, and that the first book is quite good on its own if I don't want to continue. This is a book that I did attempt to read several years ago, but I didn't really give it a fair chance. I read like the first 2 pages and then just put it down, gave it away to a charity shop, and then picked it up from a charity shop, especially because at work specifically I am getting pestered a lot to read this one, so I'm finally going to be doing it. This one we are following Locke Lamora, who is a thief, and we have a colourful underworld in an ancient city, but now there's a war that is threatening to tear it apart, and they get caught up in a murderous game. There we go. We'll see. I don't know. I am a little bit hesitant because I did try reading this, but I also know I did not give it a fair shot, and my reading tastes have changed slightly, so I do think I would prefer this. From what everyone's been telling me, it's worth giving it a good try. And then we had Anything, and for this one I decided to go with a book that, to be honest, I've kept forgetting that I own, and that's Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I actually picked this up when it was first published, which was ages ago actually. Oh my gosh, I forgot how beautiful this book is. But this was published in March, so that's when I picked it up, and I just haven't read it. To be fair, I was saving it for like autumn, winter time, because it does seem like that kind of a book. But look how beautiful that cover is. I got the Forbidden Planet edition with the black sprayed edges, and the end papers are absolutely stunning, and even under the dust jacket. Like, I love this. I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. I have to admit, this book is perfect in 2 different ways already. First of all, it's a small hardback. It's actually the size of a paperback, which I love. I don't tend to like hardbacks, with the caveat of if they're small, they're absolutely fine, or if they're absolutely beautiful and have something underneath the dust jacket, then I'm fine with it, like in the case of The Ballad of Never After. They're the two stipulations that I have for hardbacks, simply because I find them harder to read and they're a bit more cumbersome. Apart from when they're small like this is easy to take around. Anyway, I haven't even told you what this book is about. So this one, we're following a main character who is deaf. Editing Kirsten just quickly popping in here to say that the main character is not deaf, she is mute. I do apologise. This is what you get for not reading the synopsis properly and trying to go off of what other people have said just from memory alone. So we're following Olivia, and Olivia gets a letter from an uncle she's never met, and he's summoning her to this estate. So she goes there, but they say, well, no one's sent a letter, like he's not even alive. And it all seems very mysterious and creepy. Now, I've heard quite a few different reviews for this book. A lot of people do say it's not their favourite by V.E. Schwab, but that the atmosphere is perfect. I tend to really like V.E. Schwab's works. She does do books where each book is kind of focusing on a different audience, but I still tend to like them. So I'm really intrigued to see where I stand on this one. I have heard it's quite young, almost like a middle grade, but it's sold as a young adult. But yeah, I'm intrigued. Very intrigued. So there we go. That's all the books for the month. So to recap, we have The Beautiful Gallant, which is like a creepy, atmospheric YA/middle grade book. An adult fantasy that I'm a little bit nervous of with The Lies of Loch Lamora. My buddy read for the month that I am definitely excited for, which is Small Favours. And this one is a bit more of like a horror, but I feel like it's going to have beautiful writing and maybe even a fairy tale-esque element. And then we have The Ballad of Never After, which I'm so excited for. I cannot wait. This is another YA fantasy, but one that I can't wait. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so fun. It's light fluff, which, to be honest, I think I might need to break up all of these books. And then the retelling for the month is The Madman's Daughter, which is a Island of Dr. Moreau retelling following his daughter. Then we have The Promised Neverland, which again is a nice light one just to break it up, even though it is actually a horror manga. And then we have the book for you to choose for the month, which will either be an adult or YA thriller read. This actually seems like quite a hefty pile, but also really doable, especially because we do have the manga, Ballad of Never After and Gallant, which I feel like will all be lighter reads to then pair with the darker atmospheric books, I feel like. I don't know, we'll see, but I'm actually really excited with this pile. There's no classics in it, and I'm maybe a little bit disappointed that I didn't get Agatha Christie in here again, but I'm really feeling like a nice little break, especially because, let me put these down. In October, I read so many classics, so it's going to be really nice to have a nice little refreshing break, bit of a palette cleanser, and then in December we'll probably be back to a few classics. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited about this month. Please let me know in the comments below what book I should be picking out of the one for you to choose. Also, whether you've read any of these, whether you liked them, what are you reading for the month of November? You know, all the things. Let me know in the comments below. And I think for today's emoji, honestly, I'm most excited for The Ballad of Never After, which is silly, but I really cannot wait. And this one has little mushrooms on it, so let's put a mushroom emoji for the emoji of the day, if there is one actually. If not, then do some sort of nature emoji, because there's like flowers and trees and can't wait. So excited. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it that thumbs up, subscribe, comment to let me know that you're here. Social media links will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the next one.